Hiya. So today I want to really challenge myself. I want to talk, following on from one of my earlier videos about the event and what the narrator conveyed to me about where we are. The reason why it's a challenge for me is because it didn't convey it to me in words. It sort of conveyed it to me in pictures and sort of images and stuff like that. And it told a lot, like in those images. And I'm going to try and put it into words for you, but it wasn't that easy. I've tried a couple of times today in my head, and it's not that easy. But I'm going to do my best because it is important. So if you remember in that video, I said that it explained that we were in a slightly darker situation. Nothing to be afraid of, but it did say that we were in a very specific part of the story, one that we were going to work ourselves out from. Now, the best way to sort of describe it was that it showed me that there was the prime reality. If you like, when I said about seeing the white ball of light, that was the prime reality. Within that, it was showing me that a proportion of the consciousness that lends itself to the creation of that dream, if you like, had cut itself off from the main dream, let's say. And what we were effectively living in now was like a dream within a dream. Yeah. And so we were like a little bit deeper into the illusion, if you like, than what people are who are living in the prime reality. So it showed me that in order for a dream to be created, there was an ego that was created. And the ego's job is, egos aren't necessarily, evil or bad. Its job is to create a sense of separation. And in the prime reality, there's just the right amount of sense of separation, if you like, in order that people can experience the illusion of being an individual. But the difference was that the awareness of the infinite was always still present. So in the prime reality, the beings there don't, well, let's put it this way, they don't need Jesuses and Buddhas to come along and tell them to treat one another as if they were themselves, because the awareness of that is already there, it's already a given, and they do treat each other accordingly, apparently. But what happened was that a smaller, but yet kind of what we would consider a superego within that dream had cut itself off from the source and decided that it was capable of living and creating on its own without the source. So it basically started to separate itself from the main dream, and it took a proportion of the consciousness that was involved in the prime creation with it. Welcome, because that's who we are. And you could argue, and many have, that we are trapped by that superego in this dream within a dream. That would be the best way I think I could describe it, is that we're living in a dream within a dream. And this dream within a dream is so cut off from prime reality and the source, if you like, the infinite, or whatever you want to call it, infinite love, that we have, like, the ego is so strong, it's so separated that it's forgotten completely who it is, and it became imbalanced, and it became parasitical in nature. So instead of receiving energy directly from the source, it needed to parasite its energy off the consciousness that it trapped with it, and that consciousness is us. So if you look into some of the ancient traditions, like the Gnostics, for instance, that seems to be making a bit of a comeback now, that they talk about the demiurge, and obviously in mainstream Christian traditions, they talk about, like the devil and stuff like that. And I think they are different ways of trying to describe this smaller false god, or this smaller ego, if you like, that's completely cut off and is feeding off us. Well, the narrator in this experience was telling me that that is the situation that we're in. That basically we are energy and feeding our own prison here. I know there's a train of thought for a lot of people that think that maybe this is like a school of learning, and maybe I'll address that in another video. But the way the narrator was conveying it to me with images is that effectively we were more like trapped and prisoners in a way of this like super consciousness, and that there was no amount of fighting it that was going to bring us home. It wasn't suggesting that we sort of wage some war against it at all. It was saying that the only thing that will, if you like, heal the imbalance of a superego that is effectively the incarnation of fear and the incarnation of separation and falseness, that the only remedy to that, if you like, was truth. And that resonated with me deeply, and that's why I said in another video that I don't personally have anything against the manipulators and the control system agents, because it does no good to have anything against them. And in fact, only the truth of unity and the truth of the oneness of all consciousness is the only solution to this situation. So yeah, I hope that I've managed to get that out in words in a way that is understandable. I know that there is a lot of information now coming out on YouTube, so I've got a feeling that those vibrations of truth are starting to manifest in the world. You've only got to see how many people are watching those videos and taking an interest in things like Gnosticism and all that kind of stuff. That on some level, this truth is arising within this realm, and I know a lot of people sort of worry that if they was to completely wake up, that they'd just go back into nothingness, and there seems like, in one way, like nothing that's particularly attractive about that, because they still want to have experience, But the way it was shown to me was that way before we end up actually going back into all the unmanifested reality, that our next move, if you like, our next journey is to reintegrate ourselves into the prime reality, which is effectively still a dream, but it's a dream that is self-conscious of its true nature, and it's a much nicer place to be, apparently, where not everything's feeding off everything else. Yeah, I personally I'm pretty motivated to get there myself, and I'd love to take everybody with me as well. So yeah, I hope that clarifies some stuff up for you today. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, please go back to a video called The Event, where I describe how I came face to face with, if you like, the source. And yeah, we will keep touching back on that event because there's a lot to unravel in that video. So yeah, take care, guys. All right, it's a lovely day. It's stopped raining here as well, so you know, puts a smile on your face at least. So all right, okay, look after yourselves. Okay, I'd like to know what you think as well, to be fair. So please feel free to comment and engage. I know this is one of those subjects that does get people kind of talking, you know, so yeah, let's discuss. But take care. All right, bye.